Good morning. I want to step aside from Genesis for a moment and look at the present day. When we put on the news, we'll often hear about difficulties in the Middle East between the peoples living there and the experiences they're having one with another. Sometimes Western governments try to become involved and try to sort out these problems. And they can't understand very often why all their clever ideas don't work. But the truth is that these peoples have been quarreling with one another for many thousands of years. See, Abraham had two sons. The one was Ishmael and the other was Isaac. And we're told that Ishmael went off and he had also many children. And these built up the tribes that lived in his particular area. And always we have these tribes quarreling with each other. Family memories that went back from generations. So when we look at the Middle East at the present time, and we see these different difficulties arising, we have to remember that we're not dealing with things which happened in the last 20, 50 or 100 years. We're dealing with problems which go back for thousands of years. And deep within this racial memory, we find these problems developing and being expressed. You know, you can find almost the same thing if you look at Northern Ireland at the present day. The British government may go into Northern Ireland with advisors and try and help them. But the difficulties between the Roman Catholic population and the Protestant population in Northern Ireland go back many years. And somehow there's a racial memory built up which causes them to be antagonistic to each other. Well, that's just over the last couple of 100 years. Can you imagine a quarrel that's been going on for almost 4,000 years? And that's what we have in the Middle East. When we look at the story of Isaac and Rebekah and we see their sons developing, we find that their sons too, Jacob and Esau, they too have a bad relationship with each other. Just as Ishmael and Isaac had a bad relationship with each other. So the children born in these generations have ongoing memories, and these memories are somehow still held and still referred to as people look back over the years. And they have a mistrust for each other because they find that in the past, not in the last 100 years, probably not in the last 1,000 years, probably not in the last 3,000 years, but going back almost 4,000 years, they'd say, yes, but those people, you never could trust them. You never could trust them because, you remember 4,000 years ago, that was that quarrel and it wasn't quite worked out properly. You see, these things go on, a racial memory, and it causes problems, which is why the area is such a difficult area to be able to manage. Because as we try to bring people together and create harmony in the area, their memories go back over these generations and cause these problems. Abram, after Sarah's death, married other wives and had other children. And these two you can track right the way through the ages. And you can find, for instance, that the Saudi family, the family of Saud and Saudi Arabia, come from these other wives that Abram had after the death of Sarah. And you can find other people in the area who have come from the Ishmaelite tribes. And later on, you can find other people in the area who came from the tribes that came from Esau, who was the son of Isaac and Rebekah. But let's go back and just look at what is happening in this particular area at this time. Because Isaac is now married to Rebekah, and he has two children. One is called Esau, and the other is called Jacob. We're told that Esau he was a man's man. He went out hunting and he did all the things his father liked to hear about and his father liked to associate with. Jacob, on the other hand, he was more of a home man. He stayed at home. And he was the favourite of his mother, Rebekah. But there seems to be a clash in the family here between Rebekah's favourite and Isaac's favourite. Now, Jacob himself was quite a devious person. His name meant usurper, because when he'd been born catching hold of the heel of Esau, these two twins, and they were twins. Jacob had been catching hold of the heel of Esau, and they said, yes, this is one is going to try to take from his older brother. And Rebekah had been told, even while she was pregnant, that the younger child would in fact take over the dominance in the family and not the older child. So in a sense, all of these things are going on. As you read the scriptures, you come to see that these are strange quarrels which have been worked out over the years. When we look at Jacob, for instance, they'd grown to manhood, he and Esau. And one day Esau had been out hunting, and he came in, and he was famished, and he was hungry, and he was tired. And he said to his brother, you've been cooking this stew, give me some of this stew. And Jacob says, if you sell me your birthright, you can have the stew. And Esau says, oh, what do I care about birthright? Give me the stew. And Jacob usurps his brother and takes the right of firstborn from him. This is a strange thing which is going to be worked out over the years and the generations. Amen.